Welcome to Passive Play. All right, today we're reviewing Zatima Season 1, Episode 5, titled The Element of Surprise, streaming currently on BET Plus. All right, so we open up with Zach. He's outside clearing the leaves up on the yard or in front of his property, and this woman comes along looking at the apartment next door, and it turns out to be Deja, who's waiting for Valerie, who's running behind. But Deja has another meeting, and she lets Zach know, she's a potential renter of the apartment, his apartment next door. And she's like, "Can you show me the unit? I have somewhere to be." And right away, you can tell she's attracted to Zach. And right away, Zach is like checking her out, hubba he's checking her out. And they instantly, start flirting. And this episode too is like the episode of innuendos where people are saying, but they flirt in, and Deja gives Zach her application that Valerie set up, the realtor, and all the documents that he would need to kind of run a background check and all that. And she lets him know she really wants the place. She says she's happy to have a strong landlord next door, because she's a single girl, and that's true. It's good to know somebody. If you're single, it's good to know the person next door, to know your neighbor. So that is good technically. But then then Jack is like, is it too small? I took up a little bit more space with my house next door. She's like, no, it's not too small. And she's like looking at his crotch. So, and right off the bat, I mean, this is just, the way that they're like instantly attracted to each other. I would say this is probably not the candidate that he would really want. He may want like I don't know, like, like a grandma or maybe an older lady with kids or something who's married. I don't know. I mean, they only show you one room of this place. Like, you don't see the kitchen, you don't see the bathroom. So it's hard to tell how big this like unit is that's, next to their house that he didn't fully take the space of to make an apartment. But you just see like this one room and then like a dusty floor. But it's nice because it was recently, they just built it, but still you don't really see how big it is. So maybe it's only really, viable for maybe like one person to live there, not necessarily a family. But I don't, this, you can tell off the bat, this is not a good choice. But either way, we go to after Deja sees the place. She's coming out. They're both coming out the apartment, and Zach's two friends, from his childhood. Nathan, we met like in early episodes. He's married with kids, and then Tony, another childhood friend. And they instantly, as soon as they see Deja, they start hitting on her. And Zach's like, "Well, you two calm down. You messing with my money. She's trying to rent an apartment from me. And Tony's like, "Oh, I can see you I see you know how to drive stick." Another innuendo. And Zach is like, "Have a good day. Have a good day. Thank you, Deja. I'll talk to you later." And she's like, "Call me. I really want this apartment." And after Deja leaves, the friends, they end up going into Zach's house. Now this is the first time that they're seeing it, and they're basically trying to get him to go to this party at a basketball player's house or whatever. And anyway, as Deja is leaving, that's when the two of them go into his house. He tells them to take off their shoes, but they don't. And then this is a side note. I remember my aunt, may she rest in peace, but she used to be like, "Niggas." I remember one time we were, when she was looking for a house out south, and we were looking at different places. And there was this one house we saw where they had the like graffiti, and there was like a caution sign up. And the realtor was like, it's just the kids in the neighborhood just messing around. And she like, "Niggas." She said, "Nigga," and I'm like, "Auntie, they kids." She said, "Little niggas." And that's how these guys were acting. They were just acting like some niggas. And then they were just acting like some niggas. But they come in the house, they don't take off their shoes. One dude is like putting his feet up on Zach's coffee table. The other friend is running upstairs, looking at the bedroom, going, just running around upstairs in his like, personal private bedroom. Then Nathan like starts taking off his clothes to jump in the jacuzzi. He's trying to get them to go, and they just, they basically just overstand they welcome. And this is all within a matter of minutes. Um, and so that whole like scene is funny. Um, it's just kind of like the disrespect of it all. And then they also to mention that Zach, that Zach's brother would really like this place. Has Zach talked to his brother? Zach is like, no, I haven't let him know yet, And they're telling him basically again to like, you should be single, you should be enjoying the single life, living this nice and all that. And he's like, no, I love Fatima. She's not just some girl. I love her. And they also see a picture of her on like the coffee table, and they're kind of looking at the different photos that they have in the house. And and then from there we have Valerie. She comes over a little bit later, and she says that Deja's credit is perfect, from the background check that she ran. And then Nathan, his friend, comes out from the jacuzzi like half naked, dripping wet, and putting his arm around Zach. But this is also the same time when Zach is like, I have to, talk it over with my business partner, before I can decide if Deja would be a good fit to move in next door, which he means Fatima. But this is, of course, when Nathan comes out, and then like Valerie thinks, oh, he's gay, and then they like, oh hell no, we're not together. And Zach is like, yeah, why would she think that? With you being half naked with your arm around me? And Nathan's like, he was like, I was just kind of thirsty, and I was just looking for something to drink. And Zach is like, yeah, kind of thirsty. He like, nigga, you real thirsty. And basically, Zach lets Valerie know that he needs to discuss Deja being attendant with Fatima before he makes that final decision. And so now we go to Fatima. So Fatima is getting ready to leave work. She does call Jack. She calls Zach, and she's a little off, and he can hear it in her voice. And she's like, I'll tell you when I get home. I don't have time to. I won't. I don't really want to talk to you about it right now. I want to talk to you about it when I get home later. And after she hangs up with Zach, she calls. Angela shows up in the parking lot of the firm, and she lets Angela know that Ian has cancer. She feels really bad for him, and Angela's like, you need to filter that through the feelings of the way he treated you, when you were dating him. you know and Fatima lets Angela know that Ian is waiting for her in like the lobby or the coffee shop lobby of the firm, to talk. And Angela can see that Fatima is really kind of shaken with the information, and kind of and just kind of she's like kind of really emotional right now. And Angela offers to go with Fatima to meet Ian in the lobby of the coffee shop, but she says no. And so Fatima just ends up going. And then so now we are at the coffee shop, and we're with Ian and Fatima. And he meets her, and he basically he's apologizing again. He lets Fatima know that the girl that he married was that the girl he married wasn't right. And again, he lets Fatima know that she was the right girl at the wrong time then. And he says that Fatima was so perfect, but he ran away because he figured if he settled down with Fatima, he wouldn't have been able to have fun. So he settled down with his ex-wife now, whose family had money. And they set Ian up. And Fatima says, he said him and the girl were done, when they were dating that whole time, while he was seeing Fatima. And then we found out too now that Fatima had got pregnant, but Ian talked her into an abortion. And then after the abortion, he's like, I'm getting married, and we can't do this anymore. And then that's when he kind of breaks up, and tells Fatima, you know bye ho. Which is effed up. It's really messed up. But we find this out. I don't think they ever discussed that on Sister, so we're just getting more clarity here on why. And you know but basically Ian also lets her know that, he apologizes for doing that. And, it says, and he also says, it was him, it was his, it was his doing, and it was not Fatima. She was enough. And, again, he's just apologizing. He said he's really sorry for how he treated her and all the mess that he was doing during that time. And, Fatima tells Ian, she says this closure or this information will help her heal, she thinks, and be better in her relationship now with Zach, who treats her much better. And then, he was like, I wasn't that bad. She's like, yeah, you were. You were doing a lot of mess. And, she's just like, thank you for, I guess, giving me more clarity and, in the end, giving her closure. She just has to kind of process everything. Um, and then kind of after Ian does this, he also, he asks Fatima to do him a favor, asking Fatima to be there for his mom, because he's her only child. And, basically he wants Fatima to hopefully be there for her when he's dead and gone. Because Ian's mom really loved Fatima and thought that she was the best choice for Ian. And actually, it turns out, too, she didn't even go to the wedding when Ian married, this other woman, because she just didn't support or agree with Ian's choice. And so that basically ends that. And then they also show Angela and Bryce in this episode too, saying that they love each other. I guess kind of showing that their relationship has evolved. They're a little corny to me as far as they're a little corny to me, but hey, that's something that was said in the episode, so I'm just letting you guys know. Um, and then the episode ends with Tony and Nathan showing Zach a pic of Fatima hugging hugging Ian at the coffee shop, and Zach saying "damn." And basically, this is right before they leave, but or they get ready to about to leave. But the episode again, it ends with Tony and Nathan showing Zach a pic of Fatima hugging Ian at the coffee shop, and Zach, saying "damn." And then, how much time do I get? I can only do, okay, cool. We got enough time, guys. Sorry, I can do like 30 minutes with this thing. All right, and then so now we go into episode 6, called "Cutting Ties." All right, so now we go back to Zach saying they gotta go. And then, Zach asks Nathan, after Nathan shows Zach the photo, Zach asked Nathan, what did he see? And he says, he saw Ian and Zatima sitting down and talking, and then Ian getting down on one knee and saying something. And that's something that Ian said was, can you basically look out for my mom when I'm gone, or, be a shoulder for her to lean on because I'm her only child and whatnot. Um, and Zach almost kind of starts crying a little bit because he's kind of going to like the worst thoughts. Um, and Tony is kind of instigating, like, don't you don't trust this girl, blah blah blah. You should go to this party with us. We got you. And then Nathan's like, yeah, we got you. Tony ends up leaving because he's just getting like angry, and he's kind of blowing up. It's like, you ain't dating Fatima, but you know but he leaves because he's kind of like making Zach matter. Nathan's like, we family, we got you if you need us. And then they all kind of leave. And then so now we go to Zach is taking a shower, Fatima's in the bath, and or in the tub, and she's basically trying to meditate and process the conversation she had with Ian, and the emotions of it all. And she's just looking like really like stressed and kind of like emotionally drained. And Zach is seeing kind of how she is, and he starts pressing, asking questions like, you really quiet. He starts asking about her day. He said, you got home later than you usually do. Did you go anywhere? And Fatima's like, yeah, I didn't. I went out after work, and he's like, oh yeah, where did you go? And she's like, I went to the coffee shop. He said, "Oh, you went to the coffee shop." He already knows this, of course, and he's just like, you can tell that he's like holding it in too. So they both holding it in with with different amounts of information, and it's getting interesting here. And then so he was like, "Oh, so she was like, "Yeah, I went to the coffee shop." He's like, "Did you meet anybody? You see anybody?" And she's like, "What are you asking me?" And he's like, "I'm asking you, did you see anybody at the coffee shop?" And Fatima's like, "Ian," and Zach like, "Ian, your ex?" And and Zach is like, "What do and she's like, "Well, what do you mean? What do I mean?" And he's like, "You up here looking like you crying about you, like you about to die. And you about Ian? Is this just the dude who's making you feel this way?" And and again, she looks like she's about to break down. And Zach like, "You're not gonna tell me? You're not gonna tell me what's going on?" And Fatima like, "I just need some time right now." And Zach is like, "Okay, you need time. You don't want to talk to me. You don't. Let me give you some time then." And he's like, "I'm gonna go out. I'm going to the. I'm gonna go meet the guys, Nathan and Tony." And and Fatima's like, "Don't do anything stupid. When you go out with your friends, and then Zach too, he just tells Fatima that Deja is moving in with him. He doesn't discuss it with her, but she just says okay, because again, she's kind of dealing with that meeting with Ian, and so she just kind of takes it. She didn't really ask any questions about Deja or who this person is, and Zach just kind of tells her because he's like, "I'm not even asking you permission. I'm going to tell you who it is," because he feels a certain type of way, which he does, and everybody has now. This is this episode could also be called like, I would say, I don't want to say stupid decisions, but just like bad decisions because it's starting to ripple. And then so now we go to Nathan and Tony. Zach shows up at the party of this like basketball player and his girlfriend. And we also see when Zach gets in there, Tony and Nathan point over to um, Zach's potential baby mama, whose name is actually Heather. I found out thanks to Rosa, who watches the reviews. So shout out to Rosa who let me know. And just off the quick, does this character, does she seem like a Heather? That seems like some kind of suburban wife somewhere. She seemed more like a Tracy or a Tina, but fine, we're gonna call her Heather because that's her name. That's what Tyler Perry gave. But Heather something Jennings, that's what I remember off the top of my head. But that's the character's name, so we're gonna call her Heather, the potential baby mama, who is there at the party too. And Zach is like, "Oh hell no, I gotta get out of here. I gotta leave." And ironically, on the way out, he meets Deja, who turns out on her application it said that she's a nail tech, but apparently she's also a classy private dancer by night, which which is what she says. She's a classy dancer, which means she's basically not a stripper, but she's more like an exotic dancer. She tells Zach to come back into the party and see her dance. But outside of the party, he actually gives her the keys to to the apartment next door and says, "Yeah, you got it." And she hugs him, and she like opens up her like fur coat kind of whatever thing and shows him that she's kind of like in a bikini type dress thing going on. And basically she gets him to go back into the party. And then also to when so at this point too, Angela goes to see Fatima at Zach's house or at their house, and Angela sees that Zach's car isn't there, and she calls Bryce and lets him know. And then later on too, Bryce ends up calling Zach to see where he is and what he's up to, and then Zach lets Bryce know that he's at this party and that he wants to go. And then Bryce is like, "I'll meet you at the diner that's nearby, wherever wherever this basketball player's house is." And so basically, a little bit later at the party, since Zach decides to stay and not go right away, when he goes outside, Bryce ends up going to the party. And at this point, Zach is just kind of wasted. He's sitting down, Deja's sitting in his lap. She was kind of dancing and grinding on him, and at one point at the party, and we kind of get Bryce there. Zach's shirt's off. Bryce is like, "What's going on? Where's your shirt? Anybody seen Zach's shirt?" They can't find Zach's shirt. Zach is drunk. he's Bryce is holding him up, and Deja's like, you need to get him out of here. He needs to go. Even Deja like he need to go. I mean, he got like really drunk in this episode at this point because he feels like Fatima has betrayed him or something's going on, and she won't talk to him, and he's feeling the kind of way, which again he does, you know, I say will deservedly feel, but again, they just need to talk to each other. They agreed to communicate, but now they're not communicating, and neither one of them is handling it very well. Fatima's holding it in, he's trying to hold it in, but they're not dealing with it very well. So now we go back to Zach's house, Zach and Fatima's house, and now we meet this guy, Shady Jeremiah, who stops by at the house looking for Zach. Even though I would say Fatima made a mistake, he was like, "I'm looking for Zach," and he's like, "I'm his brother," and she's like, Jeremiah." He's like, "Yeah, that's me." I mean, never tell somebody who somebody is. If you don't tell me who you are, I'm not necessarily gonna assume that you're this person. But again, she was going through some emotions, but Angela was there too, But she opens the door, and this guy, and he's shady. He's just acting weird, but he claims to be Zach's brother, Jeremiah, and so he may or may not be, Zach's brother. He may be a brother, but not exactly Zach's brother from the same mother, or it could be his brother from another mother. But Jeremiah tells Fatima that Zach needs to call their mama. And he asks, can he get Zach's number? And she like, you don't have it? He's like, no. And Fatima's like, well, I can't do that then. Right, you his brother and you don't have his number. And then, Jeremiah asks, did Fatima buy the house? And she like, and Fatima like, excuse me, I gotta go. And then, Jeremiah's like, will you tell Zach I stopped by? And, do you know where he is? And Fatima's like, I don't know where he is. And he's like, you his woman and you don't know? And she like, he a grown man. I don't need to know. Basically, I don't need to know where he is at every moment of the time, though I'm his woman. And then Jeremiah's at one point, he's like, he accepts that, but then he's like, can I come in? And he tries to walk, and she's like, no. He's like, really? He's like, give me a break. And she's like, I don't know you, nigga. She be called. I don't know you, nigga. But she like, I don't know you. And, she like, bye. And she closes the door. And Angela like, yeah, lock that door. That was so weird. And it was weird. It was the whole interaction between Jeremiah and Fatima was just very weird. It's like maybe he could be her brother. He does seem surprised of the neighborhood and where Zach is. And he was saying, is this nigga living like this? So, I guess we never met Zach's family and sister. So I guess now we may start to meet some of them in this episode. But anyway, that kind of ends that. And then we go back to Bryce. So again, Bryce shows up and gets Zach from there. And then now we go to Angela and Fatima talking. And, they're talking about, how Fatima was not ready to talk to Zach until she had processed her thoughts and emotions about Ian. And then, at this point, too, Angela's asking, where is Zach? Because he got a, reputation of being a hoe. And anybody can be a hoe, male hoe, female hoe. Even animals can be hoes, even though technically they're being animals. But anyway, but, Fatima's, but Angela's like, you should say something to Zach because he's your man, and you want to make sure that you kind of let him know what's going on. And Fatima's like, yeah, you're right. And Angela's like, even if you don't know what to say, just say something. And earlier, that's not necessarily what she did. She just said, I need time, but she didn't really speak about what happened when she was talking to Ian, which is why Zach is kind of feeling the way that he's feeling. He's like, I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what the hell is going on because she won't talk to me. And then as Fatima and Angela are talking after Jeremiah leaves, Belinda texts Fatima, and Fatima like, hell no. And so she blocks Belinda. Fatima blocks Belinda's number, and then Belinda texts Angela, and it turns out it's a text of a picture of of Zach and Deja is grinding on Zach, but in this photo he has his shirt on, and Angela first acts like she didn't receive the text, from Belinda, but Fatima's like, give me the phone. Let me see the phone. You're not good at lying. And then so Fatima takes the phone from Angela off the table, and she looks at the photo. She shows the photo, the text to Angela, and Angela's looking like, she's like, fix your face, cause you lie, you lying ass. So again, the photo is of Zach and Deja, with Deja grinding on him. And his shirt is on though. And I'm like, in this photo, he's not drunk yet, or as drunk as he's shown to be a little bit earlier before this scene. And the episode ends there with Fatima saying, "This nigga," with this photo. And so, okay, so these two episodes were really good, and I would say too, in these two episodes, the comedy was hitting a lot more, like the delivery, the lines, all that was hitting a lot more. So I really like these two episodes. It's moving the story forward, and everything is working, So it looks like now we're going to start maybe being introduced to some of Zach's family. Um, if this Jeremiah dude is his brother, who's very just like suspect and just like character and all, maybe he's like a jealous brother, who feels Zach maybe gets more or something. It could be like some kind of sibling rivalry or something kind of relationship that they may or may not have, or who knows, maybe his brother was the reason why maybe he went to jail or a part of it. Maybe he's a bad influence. Who knows? But we're going to maybe see some of Zach's family being introduced. Maybe we'll see maybe Fatima's family be introduced in these episodes too. This is only the first season. I'm assuming this is on BET Plus. They're only going to do 10 episodes. So this is what, 5 and 6. So we only have maybe like 4 episodes left, but it's getting good to me. Again, to me, the writing, the comedy, a lot of stuff it just flowed a lot better. And for this show, it's usually like 30-minute kind of sitcom dramedy going on. So maybe that's better format than the hour that's on Sisters. But I'm liking this show a lot better than maybe even at least Sisters where Sisters is right now. But we'll see, with the new season 5. But either way, I'm liking this episode, and too. Yeah, some of them, they made some questionable the decisions as far as Fatima not telling Zach about Ian, though she is going through the motions and trying to figure out how to deal with that and kind of find her own closure before she speaks to Zach, which I understand. And then you also have, Zach who's just feeling a certain kind of way that she's not talking to him when they agreed they would tell each other everything. And I can see it from his point of view too. So there's two views here. Bryce and Angela do seem to be supportive, which is good. Again, hopefully Bryce is who he appears to be. Fatima says she doesn't necessarily trust his motives, but so far he does seem to be a good friend. So hopefully that remains to be true and keeps up. And then all these girls, now these newer girls, it seems now you got Deja, you got Valerie, they all be giving, Zach looking at his crotch, he's flirting with them inadvertently. So we got all these different things going on. And Pop, that looks really cool. Okay. I like my tinted glasses. Anyway, that looks really cool. Anyway, so we got Valerie, we got, Belinda, we got Deja, all these like new potential complications in the Zatima world atmosphere, stratosphere relationship. So hopefully Zach can keep himself together. Apparently when he does drink, he can get stupid and start making mistakes. So he needs to maybe stop drinking and stay sober. Deja offered him some weed or whatever. He said no. So he needs to stay away from drugs and alcohol to have a clear mind and make clear decisions. Other than that, you guys let me know what you think of this review. Put some comments down if you like anything I said or want to comment on anything I said or comment on the 2 episodes or whatever you think of the 2 episodes. If you like this review, hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber, subscribe. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If you like my channel, and also check out my other reviews, and I will see you next time.